Go ahead and give your introduction. Almost everybody's in the room.
Ok. Hola a todos, soy Malibé y aquí está Ana conmigo. Somos las intérpretes y estamos aquí para apoyar la comunicación entre el español y el inglés. Si no eres bilingüe, cuando la función esté encendida, accede a la interpretación al hacer clic en el globo que aparece en la pantalla o los 3 puntos en celulares y tabletas. Seleccione el idioma de su preferencia y luego el botón hecho. Nos pueden ayudar hablando a un ritmo moderado, no hablar más de una persona a la vez, ya que no queremos priorizar una voz sobre la otra, y si tiene problemas, hágalo saber. Hi everyone, this is Malibe and Ana, the interpreters. We are here to support the communication between Spanish and English. If you are bilingual, when the function is on, click on the globe, or for phones and tablets, it'll be the 3 dots. Select your preferred language and then done. And you can help us by speaking at a moderate pace and also to speak only one at a time, because we don't want to prioritize one voice over the other. And if you have any issues, please let us know.
Okay. Are we ready to start? Organizing crew, we got everybody in. It's coming. Welcome to strike day 3. And I'm looking at the chat and I have to say, yes, the organizers of these unions are the best organizers I have ever seen in my life. What happened today? I was in Newark this morning at the picket line, and the energy was fantastic. The people there are just, you know, there were children, there were dogs, there were picketers that we just, it was really fantastic. So I didn't go to New Brunswick today. I'd like to hear how it went in New Brunswick, but I know everybody is eager to hear what's happening in bargaining. I drove down to Trenton at 3 o'clock, and I've never done this before, and I don't recommend it, but these negotiations are intense. I can assure you that everybody is doing everything they possibly can to get a fair contract for everybody. Everybody, that means, you know, grads, postdocs, full-time faculty, NTTs, PTLs. There's a lot of people that we need to, you know, think about as we negotiate. And I can see firsthand how hard everybody's working and how difficult this is. But I am going to pass it over to some people who have been involved more than I have been. But I just wanted to share, because I didn't know this yesterday when I was on, I was frustrated not knowing what the update was. You're not going to be satisfied with the update tonight. We're going to hear some things that are happening, but let me just preview them. Okay. We are working as hard as we can. We might get updates later, but probably not on this Zoom call, although, you know, we just don't know. So I'm going to pass it over to Maria Garth, the wonderful Maria Garth. She's right here. You can switch seats. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to apologize in advance if we're all a little discombobulated. It's just been a very intense day here in Trenton, but the bargaining teams are all working hard. We have been negotiating the economic items all day today, so that is on the table. And the bargaining team, I think, is making progress, productive discussions, and things are moving forward. We can't give you a lot of details, but we're making progress. But what remains is the non-economic items. I'll let others speak as well. I'm not the only one giving the update. There'll be others on after me, but what remains is a lot of the non-economic items. So I think we're cautiously optimistic, but there's still a lot of work left to be done. And we're very energized by the picket lines. Everything we've seen looks amazing. And we are so proud of this union and all the work that everyone has done, not just any one union, but all of us together. So I want to say that, but we want to give you as much of a bargaining update as we can, but there's also just details that we can't go into, but we're making a lot of progress on the economic side, and I think things are looking good for us. So I'll end it with that, and I'm going to hand it over to Kathy Monteleone.
No, Jim Brown.
Oh, Jim Brown from the AAUP-AFT is going to speak.
Hi, everybody. I don't have a whole lot to add. Sorry, I'm Jim Brown, English professor in Camden and chapter president in Camden as well. I don't have a ton to add to what Maria said. I will echo what she said about working on economic things all day. A lot of the non-economic issues are still outstanding, and we are holding strong on all of those, in particular our demands that affect our community partners. I also just want to say there is pressure on us to settle these economic demands, and we're not bowing to that pressure. We understand that pressure is there, but that is not going to stop us from fighting for the things that we're fighting for. So I wanted to be clear about that. Everybody's very tired. We are energized by everything we see on social media. Every video gets shared around the room. When we get to see it, it gives us life. Please know that. But you know, we have a lot of work ahead of us, and we're pushing hard. And I think I'll now hand it over to Kathy. Thank you.
You've all seen me before, Catherine Monteleone, RBHS. It's been a long day. It's, again, mostly economic, which for us is it's mostly the raises and the pattern. It's not really our specific economics yet. We did have a discussion with the interested parties. It was difficult. The mediators are here. They are trying to help us. And I can absolutely 100% say, if we didn't have the support of all the different units, RBHS would be nowhere, absolutely nowhere. And the only reason that we're getting them to focus on our issues is because of the support of everybody here. And believe me, we're making noise. We're not going to be left behind. They're not going to let us be left behind, but it's long and we still have a lot to do on RBH. Some things may not get done to close this contract because you all know we got a new proposal on comp 2 weeks ago. It's really complicated. We may not be able to finish all parts of it. That's okay. We'll have a deadline. We'll get on it. But there's other economic things we must have to close this contract that apply to us. And then if there's other issues, we can deal with them in the next few weeks. But we certainly want to make sure that there's some economic stuff for us also, in addition to the raises and all that we will stay with our comrades here on. Thanks for all the white coats who showed up on the picket line. Boy, that is such a great thing. It really shows that, you know, healthcare is sticking together with everybody else here, and it means so much. So thank you all, whoever can get out there, and thank you for getting out there. Take care.
Hi, everyone. I'm Howie Swerdloff. I teach in the writing program in New Brunswick, and I'm the secretary of the Rutgers Adjunct Union. And this is my first ordeal, I'll call it, as a bargainer. There's a lot of people in the room here who have been doing this for decades, and they're quite a bit more experienced than people like me. And it's quite a new, I'll say, pleasure. It's a roller coaster ride. We go home, you know, at midnight, and we're elated about all the things we're accomplishing, and then by the middle of the next day, we're depressed and frustrated. Then that changes again by the middle of the afternoon. Anyway, the veterans tell us that's always the way it is. So we're glad to hear that. So any kind of characterization that we might make about how it's going is kind of a snapshot in that moment in time. We could be on the cusp of a historic victory, or not. And I hope that gives you a sense of what it's like here. We are, as Jim said, we're inspired by what we see on social media. We're in this beautiful governor's mansion here. It's absolutely brand new, and but it feels to us kind of like we're in detention and we haven't seen the sunlight. And so we see it on social media. We do see the sunlight and the cherry blossoms and all the people dancing and singing on social media, and that keeps us going. We know just to sum up, the values that we all stand for, that the reason that we are willing to go through all of this, all of us, is because we want to change this higher education system so that it serves humans instead of bankers and investors and just data and spreadsheets and whatnot. So keep the faith. We're fighting the good fight, and all of us. And thanks for listening.
Can I interrupt and just ask a question from the chat?
Hey, folks, it's
David?
okay, just let me just say this really quick and then we'll take questions. My name is David Letwin from the Rutgers Adjunct Faculty Union. I stand 100% behind everything my colleagues and comrades have just said. And I just want to repeat what I said last night, which is the reason we are making these gains at the table is not because we are brilliant negotiators, not that. It's because of the work you are doing on the picket line. It's because of the strike. It is because of the solidarity with faculty, with students, with staff, with community members. So keep up the great work.
Oh, okay. So questions, can't do the chat, but what are some of the questions?
That is repeated over and over is that people are expressing a level of frustration in the chat at the lack of details to the report about the economics and other things. So if people could just address that.
Yes, I can tell you that this is a public forum. We have union channels and we should check in with those union channels, but this is public and there are people here who are reporters and they're great and we love you. Thank you for covering the story. But this is delicate and it's complicated and there are people involved that, you know, it's involving the governor of the state, it's involving elected officials, it's involving people at Rutgers. There's a lot of constituencies and it's hard to, you know, to say things that, you know, might affect the course of bargaining. And we know we want a successful bargaining session to come to fair contracts. So that's where the frustration is. I feel it. I know it. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I don't know much more than you guys do. It's a lot about math. I was never good at math. That's what's happening now. So let's go to some, so thank you, Sherry, for that. Troy.
Yeah, thanks. I recognize that there's only so much that you can tell us, but one critical technical question to me is, are there constraints if the governor gives Rutgers money on what they can spend the money on? That is, we know that Rutgers administration is very good at pissing money away. And we also know that when they agree to something like they did with the equity clauses last time, they said, well, not really so much. And so I just don't know. I'm sure, you know, I trust our team and I'm sure it's in their minds, but anything you can tell us would be welcome. Thank you.
I would just say that's what the math is about. That's what the math is, the percentages and what you do with it. Yes, it's money. Money is fungible, right?
If there are constraints on the money, we wouldn't know about it. That would be between the state and the university. We wouldn't know about it, and we don't. Is the honest answer.
Thanks, Howie. Tom, is that?
Thank you. It's Thomas Figuera here in New Brunswick, former president in New Brunswick of the Union, longtime activist. I've been involved in these things since the mid 80s, first committee 82. Thanks to everyone's really devoted work here, and the turnout in New Brunswick was marvelous today. It's clear, of course, that you cannot negotiate with all of us in the circle, and that's obvious, and that's never taken place before. But I would like to be reassured that each of the unions is consulting every day with the executive committees, because the big problem that's happened in past years is the sort of erosion that has taken place at the table when piecemeal concessions are made without true balancing and final counter concessions. And therefore, that has led us sometimes to a position where we end up having to agree to a contract that we agree is inadequate, simply because the difference is now so little. So I would really like to hear some reassurances that the executive councils of each union are getting a report each day.
Thank you.
So let me describe how the day goes. That might help you to understand how we're doing this. So we're in a big conference room. There's about 20 of us. We represent every union that's involved in the three faculty unions, but all the constituencies within those unions, the grads, the PTLs, the biomedical faculty, the NTTs, the tenured faculty, everybody's here. And we have a very rambunctious group. We have lively arguments and debates. We meet with I should say, on Zoom periodically during the day, and some of you are here and know this. We have our bargaining teams on a giant monitor on the wall, and we have a Zoom session where we can be a little bit more candid about some of this stuff than we can in public like this, right? So, and we do that frequently. So it's as close to open bargaining as we're allowed to do here at the governor's domain. You know, there's very small, the conference rooms are small. They have restricted the number of people that go in to 5 from each side at a time to discuss a particular issue. Different people go in based on what the issue is that's being discussed. But when they come out, the whole team hears a report immediately. There's lively debate. You know, we don't agree about everything, but we try to reach a consensus. Nobody goes in and make, counter offers unless we all agree, including the people. We get the bargaining teams on Zoom if we have to make decisions about anything that's substantive. So it's as open as possible under the circumstances. And we have an amazing working relationship with between all the different strata of these unions. We have amazing solidarity. I'm telling you this from my heart. It's just phenomenal. The PTLs and the grads are at the center of every discussion here. There has been no wavering whatsoever, and we really are. Feel like we're on a mission to raise the bottom levels to the higher levels and bring it's really quite something. So I hope that reassures you a little bit. You're absolutely right. There's great pressure on us to operate undemocratically, and we're resisting it furiously.
Well, that's reassuring, and I thank you for your investment of time and energy here. But I didn't really hear a definitive answer to my question, namely whether you were talking to whether the executive council, the faculty union, is being consulted each day on developments. Yes or no?
Yes is the answer.
Yes is the answer. Thank you.
The bargaining team is on.
There's a bargaining team, and then there's the EC, and we're PTL, so we don't know what the other processes for there's 2 other unions. We were talking about the general situation.
But you're talking to your EC executive committee.
9:30 every morning.
We are
adjunct EC.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Every morning, 9:30.
Dan Siegler.
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to ask if you could, what qualifies as non-economic, like specifically? And is it important to make that distinction, or is there a way to maybe try to connect those things more?
What I'm learning is that the financials are the thing that you do. You get that package first, and then the non-economic things are for us, for PTLs, the job security. Those are 2 connected things in our minds. They will never be disconnected, but we have to first, that's a pot of money that goes to all of us, and that's being negotiated now. That's the math. And we could still at any point walk away from the table. I want to make that clear. Nothing commits us to anything until we get what we know we deserve. So the next thing we do are the non-financials, which is the bargaining for the common good demands, the PTL demands that are not financial, the grad demands that are not financial. I know this was news. This is just what we can't invent the wheel here. This is how these things are done. And if we,
Right, so
I know that
non-financial
I can
refers,
hear what people are thinking, but that's the way you do it. And
I
it
hear
makes
you're
sense to some
saying.
people. Not.
I hear what you're saying, but non-financial refers specifically to job security. That would be like A, what would be B, C?
Yeah.
What are the things that fall under that category?
Recognition,
Clarity.
Well,
Long-term
including grad
appointments.
fellows with graduate students.
Right.
What else is non-financial?
Diversity,
Equity between equity. I know it sounds financial, but that's equity between campuses.
RBHS has term appointments.
Term appointments.
We have, we also have this parental leave, this.
Parental leave for
right?
RBHS. Yeah.
Right,
Healthcare stuff.
health stuff.
Yeah.
Which plan people are going to
So,
be.
yeah.
in.
So let's move, because there's a lot of
That makes sense
questions.
to you now? It's not directly dollars and cents, although there's some overlap, right?
Of course,
You know, the
yeah.
percentages for advancement, those get thrown into the soup, right?
Thank you.
How many credits it's going to take to go to the next level? That's
Advancement,
not
promotion.
financial.
Erin, hi, Erin.
Hey everyone. Yeah, I want to reiterate what Dan just said. I think this economic, non-economic is a spurious distinction that the governor and management is promoting to try to get us to think that there's like more and less important demands. And I think it's false and we should reject it entirely. Grad fellows inclusion, 5 years, those are economic. Campus housing rent freeze, that's economic. PTL job security, that's economic. And here at Newark, we reject any deal that does not cover all of these issues because they're all economic. So I think we all need to push against this spurious distinction that's being pushed upon us by those who are not interested in our best interests. This is false and we should reject it entirely.
Thanks, Erin. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's, yes, thank you.
Well,
let's
do one thing at a time, though. I mean, let's face it, right?
Let's not push
As much
back
as,
here.
okay.
Let's, because I'm gonna get to more people. Thank you, Erin. I appreciate that. Nicole, hey.
Hi, thank you for your service. I just want to express in the strongest terms that I can that we are, we acknowledge, but are not really concerned about the governor's timeline.
Yeah.
So I really want to, use us as a pushback against that piece. We're, and it's real. We don't feel any pressure. We can do this. We're committed to doing this until we get the contract that we deserve. This is not about his timeline. And, if you could think about any way that we can assist you in conveying that, I know that you're resisting that, but even when people are saying things that you don't agree with, the more they say them, the more that they wear you down psychologically. None of us are immune to that. I would also like to just ask if there's been any discussion about moving at least 2 days a week back to Rutgers. I'm concerned about the impact and the optics and the politics of your being at the governor's office. I think that that's connected to the pressure piece. We want you back with us.
Yeah. Great point. I'll just say for the first, we are not on the governor's timeline. They had said 5 p.m. you got to do everything. I don't know. It's not 5 p.m. We're still here. So it's not his timeline. It's our demands, and that's what's driving us. And will take as long as we need to get a fair contract. So that's how we're operating.
You're just going to be working for a limited time. You all are going to catch
here, maybe. There's
year.
other places to go, right? It's not the only place you can bargain. So the other thing, what everybody can do is get back out there tomorrow and get more people there. That's power. Bargaining is about power, right? We have to keep amassing our power. That's just the bottom line. Thanks, Nicole. Rob?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I trust our bargaining team. I think you guys are great. But I think the most important thing that has been said here tonight is that this is a public forum and that there's reporters here. So instead of asking a question, I'm going to speak to the reporters and I'm going to speak to Governor Murphy, okay? So Governor Murphy says he's governor of a pro-labor state. He says he's a pro-labor governor. Governor Murphy maybe has future ambitions. Governor Murphy needs to prove that he's pro-labor. And
Thank
one
you.
of the ways that Governor Murphy can prove that he's pro-labor is come out right now for two non-economic things that should be non-controversial in a pro-labor state from a pro-labor governor. One of those is the principle for equal pay for equal work, and that any contract needs to be founded on that principle of equal pay for equal work. And that touches on every single status issue for PTLs, right? And the governor committing to that principle would only be committing to the same principle that the University Senate of Rutgers, a glacial, slow-moving representative body, committed to basically by acclamation. So I am challenging you, Governor Murphy, come to Rutgers, visit us on the picket lines, meet my PTL friends, commit to equal pay for equal work. All right? And Governor Murphy, I'm just a union member now, but a long time ago, I was on the EC and I made a little comment. I said, you know, graduate students who are fellows, they're workers too. They're doing research. If you're a graduate student and you're taking care of a cell line in microbiology for your dissertation, you're doing work for Rutgers and you need to be recognized as a worker. And that's one of the major status issues. So I want Governor Murphy, right, to recognize that graduate students who do research for Rutgers, they're workers and they need to be recognized and they need to be part of this contract. Okay, I'll shut up.
Right on, right on, right.
Thank you, Rob.
I think he
Yeah,
might
and
have heard him.
I'm just gonna say it's 8:30, so if we can try to think about keeping it short. Not that I minded what Rob said, loved it, but gonna keep it short if we can. Brian Everett.
Hi, yes, I'm Brian Everett. I'm an alum of Rutgers Camden, and I'm also a current staff member at Rutgers Camden, as well as a staff senator for the University Senate at Rutgers Camden, and a PhD student at Rutgers Camden too. So I wanted to just ask some very broad questions about sort of in the line of what Professor Scott has already asked. Is there anything that you believe that the Rutgers University Senate can assist with at this time? Is there anything that you believe we can do with the Board of Governors or the Board of Trustees to further assist these matters? And also, thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you for saying that. Yes, you can check in with our organizing committee. You can sign up for a picket and find out what's going on. There are new actions every day, some of which are focused on the Board of Governors. So please check in with the campus. It's Camden for you, I assume. So check in and sign up for a picket and you can get information that way. There's channels of communication. Does that help, Brian? I hope.
Yes, thanks.
Okay. So we're gonna have to take two more questions and want to keep it. I'm sorry, you can put your, like I feel like Brian Lair, only time for two more questions, but that's what, we can't go on and on. So Paul and then Catherine.
Yes, thanks. A couple of days ago, it seemed like Governor Murphy convinced President Holloway to not seek an injunction yet. Is that still holding? Is there some pressure in that area? Is there any talk about an injunction if we don't settle within the next day or two? Basically, that's it.
There is a kind of an implied threat in the air here that if we don't finish the job, the injunctions are coming. So yeah, I would say that's something to keep your eye on. You know, I don't know how late we're going to be here tonight and whether we'll quote unquote finish the job.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I would expect that we'll be facing some kind of legal challenge shortly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. And then Catherine.
Hi, thank you for everything you're doing. I just have a quick question about grad fellows. Are they still like included in the conversation? Are we still trying to get grad fellows to be included and for them to get health insurance and everything? Hi, Sarah.
Hi. I'm about to do the grad update, but I heard this question, so I ran over.
Oh, I can wait.
No. Grad fellows are definitely still included right now. We have been told that they will not do recognition, and we're pushing back on that. So we are trying to make sure right now that they're included in our salary demands. We tried to do that before, and David Cohen told us, no, we couldn't because they're not in our union. So we are pushing back on this. Fellows inclusion, which includes a bump in salary, hopefully to the TAGA minimum, state health insurance, tuition and fee remission, and union representation is very much still on the table and a big issue for grad.
Okay, I just want to say that, Rutgers is a battleship. It's huge, and we're trying to redirect it toward education and teaching and learning. And it's hard, and we are trying to be as democratic as possible. I tell my students democracy is hard, it's messy, it's complicated. We're doing the best we can. We appreciate any help with this, any support, and the biggest support you could all give us is the power that you're amassing outside the bargaining table, where I hope I am back tomorrow, because this is this is hard. But I also want to say that what we've heard is that there's a storm before the calm. So this is not unusual that things are chaotic right now, and they could get very calm very quickly. We don't know yet. So it's a really hard thing. It's like before we took the strike vote, we couldn't say what we were going to do until we took a vote. It's the same kind of thing. It's not satisfying. And I apologize for it not being satisfying, but that's the way the process is. It's learning for all of us. Sherry, do you want to share anything about tomorrow for people?
Yes, I do. I want to say just a few things. And I see all the questions, and the questions will continue. And I'm sorry, we'll try and respond to them as best as possible in emails and social media, and of course on the picket line. Here's the deal. We have to continue pressure because it's working. And in fact, tomorrow morning, we do have a couple of wake-up calls for members of the Board of Governors. There was actually one this afternoon that was impromptu in Maplewood. There'll be one in Maplewood and another one on Park Avenue and 78th Street in Manhattan at 7 a.m., where we are going to have a crew wake up the vice chair of the Board of Governors, Mark Engelson, who consistently says he's on our side, but we have not seen any evidence of this over these last 10 months. Nice words aren't going to do it. We need to see action. Our picket lines will remain strong tomorrow. We need people out there. I will say this about today, Camden and New Brunswick in particular, all campuses, all pickets, we're surprised to find they were actually larger today, more faculty on them. We want our faculty out there. We must have faculty out there along with our grad workers and adjuncts and our undergrads. They are showing lovely support, but we need to be out there. They're showing support for us. So the picket lines tomorrow are crucial. Rutgers AAUP.org site, push the little button about where, if you haven't seen the 3,000 emails, the texts, the hustles, the WhatsApps about where it is, please don't hesitate. We need you on the line. It's hot and sunny. It's gonna be up to 87 degrees. We are taking breaks. We have water, we have entertainment. There was a drag show and a March on the Boss today. If you spend 10 seconds on social media, you'll see the jubilant, the joy, and the solidarity. But it's also serious work. This is about building the fight, and we're going to continue it tomorrow. We are thinking that if we are still on strike, if we do not have a deal, many of us are talking about mobilizing people down to Trenton on Friday. So this is a conversation we'll be having, in the morning with people if we're still looking like we need to push things over the edge. So that's what's happening. We need you on the line. And for those who are in a position, we have a lot of folks in Manhattan and about 100 union members in Brooklyn. If people are willing to get up a little bit early, we don't need a huge crowd, but 20 people outside with the signs, noisemakers chanting will be noticed and seen, and we'll get some TV cameras there. Same thing in Maplewood. So 78th and Park Avenue tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. will be one wake-up call. And the other one, I'm sorry, I don't have the coordinates. If somebody can read them off the sheet, I'll give them. But you'll hear about it, especially if you're in the Maplewood area. In fact, somebody can, I'll throw my email in the chat. And if you want to find out about it, you can write me, swolf@rutgersAAUP.org. If you want to find out either about the Maplewood wake-up call or the Park Avenue wake-up call, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Time to wake up and get some work done, because we're hearing that it's the Board of Governors putting pressure on the president. So we need to put more pressure on the Board of Governors.
Cool. Tri-state area. It's a big geography. Let's get everybody aware of what we need to do. So get active. We'll see you tomorrow on the picket lines. Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much. Good night.